This should be. No. It's still saying waiting for Sakai. You see him. Okay, we are live.
Yeah. Are we live?
I think so.
Are we live? Can we start?
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, depending upon whatever part of the world you are joining from. And welcome to our panel at CAI 2024, Sustainabilities and HCI from the Global South. I hope all of you are enjoying the conference. My name is Vishal, and I'm a PhD candidate in the School of Interactive Computing at Georgia Tech, and I'm co-moderating this panel with LD, who is a PhD student at the Atlas Institute at the University of Colorado Boulder. Before we start, we would like to honor the original inhabitants of the land, where we all are sitting in different parts of the world, and here in Hawaii. We recognize the rich histories and cultures of these original inhabitants and their ongoing connections to their ancestral lands. As you know, May is also a native Hawaiian month. We encourage you to learn about the history and culture of native Hawaiian on whose ancestral lands many of us are located today. Sustainability issues are prevalent globally, yet they often fall unevenly, with marginalized communities bearing the brunt of the impact. Traditionally, conversations around sustainability within HCI have primarily focused on the global north. Today, with this panel, we aim to shift the sustainability discussions within HCI to the global south. We use South here not as a geographical term, but as a metaphor for the human sufferings caused by capitalism and colonialism at a global level, and for the resistance to overcoming or minimizing such sufferings. This metaphor emphasizes the many Souths that also exist within the geographical North. This online panel builds on and extends the panel organized at CAI 2023 last year, There is No Planet B, on sustainability and HCI, to amplify the voices that are often unheard and unrepresented in HCI. Through this discussion and through this panel, we hope to engage our global CAI audience in meaningful dialogue about co-envisioning HCI and also seeing how we can collectively address issues of sustainability that are existing across the globe. Now, over to you, LD.
Thanks. Over the next hour or so, we will explore meanings, methods, politics, implications, and narratives surrounding sustainability from the perspectives of diverse HCI professionals in and from the Global South. We encourage all of you to actively participate in the Q&A session after the presentations. The panel will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Actually, it's currently streamed on YouTube for those who would not join us live today. Before starting, we would like to encourage everyone to take some time to choose virtual backgrounds that represent your culture or regions, adding a visual representation of our diversity. So let's take a minute, and if the people on Zoom would like to change their backgrounds, please feel free. We encourage diverse perspectives and constructive criticism. This is a supportive space focused on critiquing ideas, not people. Lived experiences are valid, while ideas and suggestions are open for discussion. We acknowledge that access to knowledge and experiences can vary. If something feels insensitive, let's offer corrections with understanding. Respect everyone's right to participate or step back from the conversation. Please use the chat option to ask questions or leave a comment. We will also share a Slido link for the ones who would like to ask questions anonymously. We have also, I think we will have a streamlined a slide for the Slido link.
Yeah. So if you go on to the Kai program's website, you should be able to see a link to the Slido, which you can open and then ask questions there. Yeah, it's also, I think for in-person participants, it's visible on the screen as well here. Okay, so let's start. So now we will request all the panelists to briefly introduce themselves, tell us about their affiliation, which part of the world they are joining from, how, what research they do, and how it relates to sustainability. Uh, I think we can do this in like not taking more than 3 minutes. So I see Laura is the first panelist on my screen, so maybe we can start with them.
So I'm gonna start then. Can you hear me just fine over there as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. So hello everyone. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Laura Cabrera Quiros. I'm an associate professor in the Costa Rican Institute of Technology, or Instituto Tecnológico de Costa Rica. Well, I did my PhD and postdocs mainly in the Netherlands, and I'm part of a group of Costa Rican professionals. They came back to make it into academia here in the country to make it better, let's say, try to push a little bit towards the better of the country. I'm also the current chair of the local chapter, the HCIs chapter for Costa Rica. And when it comes to research, mainly I'm in the Kai community in the part of FFT computing and social signal processing using wearable sensors and cameras mainly. And at the moment, the way I'm going into and what that's why maybe I'm here for the sustainability part is because of the let's say way I'm trying to do my research nowadays, which is going to the edge. A lot of what I do is based on machine learning, and a lot of the machine learning that we know is, well, the carbon footprint, for example. We know how that goes with machine learning and everything, privacy. There is a lot of issues with that. So I'm trying to go in the direction of bring closer to the edge. So bring closer to the people. No need to big servers or big hardware, let's say. Bring it back to the people. And there is also a lot of extra perks, let's say it, that come to use it in a sustainable environment.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. Next, we have Pushpendra on the screen. So over to you, Pushpendra.
Hello, so I'm Pushpendra Singh. I'm from India. I work in IIIT Delhi as a professor in computer science department. I did my PhD from France and lived in France for multiple years before moving back to India again with the spirit to uh, making life better for India, primarily using my knowledge. And I moved into HCI somewhere around 2013-14. Earlier, I was more of a distributed systems person. And now my research is very much into the area of public health, especially for maternal and child health. How it intersects with sustainability is basically there are multiple dimensions. Number one, any solution that you develop in India for a rural population which is traditionally less resource, it needs to be sustainable for that solution to work. So anything that is not sustainable is simply not a solution to be deployed in public health in India. Number two is that in general, India, because of its economy growing and its population, now we are the most populous country. India is coming, I would say, under not really pressure, but under a lot of discussions are happening on sustainability and how India should grow. And that is of the interest to us as scientists because many of these policies are eventually going to impact the work and lifestyle in India. So that's why this panel is also very important to me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we have Joycelyn with us. Joycelyn, over to you. And also, congratulations on your, I think it's honorable mention award for your paper. So, yeah, I'm excited to read your paper. So, yeah, over to you now.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, hi, I'm Joyce Len. I'm a final year PhD student candidate at University of Cambridge. My work focuses on the participatory design of conservation technologies, specifically ecoacoustic technologies. So the use of sound, sound sensors, and the whole infrastructure that contributes to the collection of sound data for conservation specifically. I am part of the African diaspora, part of the Ghanaian diaspora specifically, and I work with forest communities in Ghana and the Ashanti region on this topic. So thinking about the labor that goes into data collection, how we design technologies, how we deploy technologies in these environments, and how we also make more just and sustainable the analysis and interpretation outcomes for forest ecosystems where technology is mediating that action. And yeah, I have a paper out this Kai. It's called Justice Oriented Design Listening, and it offers a new way or method or perspective of looking at how we design with communities where Western-centric approaches to design are not appropriate, and where maybe more oral, audible listening might be more effective. So yeah, glad to be here and looking forward to the
Yeah,
conversation.
thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we have Eunice.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, yes, I'm currently based in Australia, but I was originally from Indonesia, was born in Indonesia, and I did most of my education in Indonesia, but I graduated from Australia, did my PhD in education, and then master in Denmark, and also did early education in Indonesia and Japan. So I started my company in Indonesia, the first HCI company called UX Indonesia, and I'm still running it. And also then I expanded in Australia with the other name called Customer Experience Insight. I'm also currently the adjunct associate professor at UNSW in Australia, and also founder of Asian Kai and Southeast Asia Kai, because we started this movement pioneering HCI since early 2000. And my relationship with the sustainability is actually quite unique. It is actually through the work that we are doing with our clients. We are trying to introduce sustainability through circular economy work, and how we can actually like make use of the everything what we are doing, uh, and then relate it to business and sustainability as well. So we're trying to bridge a gap between industry and education. I guess we can talk about it later, but that's from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much to all the panelists for introducing themselves. I know some of them are in totally opposite time zones, and it's like pretty late for them. But we appreciate them for taking time out to join us today. So we have also curated some questions from the Global Kai audience before this panel that LD will share now, and also like if you for the participants who are joining us online or in person, there is a Slido link. If you go to programs.kai, you should be able to see the Slido link, and you can ask questions to the panelist, and we will pose it to them after this particular activity. So over to you, LD.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have a first question, and we would like for every panelist to answer. what are the Global South's perspective on sustainability, and how are they different from the North? I think this is just an opening question, just to give context for our online audience. Feel free to open your mic and answer the question.
Like in the same order, or?
It doesn't matter. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I saw Pushpendra has unmuted himself,
Okay,
so
then
maybe he
I
can
will
go.
shut up then.
Okay, no, I was also waiting for the order, but okay, I will just begin. So I think the perspective of sustainability, at least I can say for India, so Indians in general have a very sustainable life. I mean, in India, the reusability rather than recycling was the way of life for a very long time. It may have come because there were less resources and people wanted to make good use of resources. But reusing was a, so for example, the clothes get reused by from older kid to the younger kid and then for various other purposes, you know. So there were all these practices were are part of the life of many people still in the India. So when the conversation comes, typically you see two sides. One side is obviously that, hey, we are already living in so less, what more we can do. Second side also comes is that while people understand this, that India, countries like India, where the population is large, will be most affected by global change. But there's also an argument of, especially the policies that are coming primarily from the Western world, is that currently now when India is growing, then they are coming with these arguments of sustainability and climate and other things to put restrictions. But what about their own lifestyle? Lifestyle of a typical US person is, I don't know where I read it, but I think it was 10 times, 12 times more resource consuming than a typical Indian person. So even if India has a 4 times more population than US, the individual Americans or individual Europeans are consuming more resources. So there is a lot of discussion in India nowadays about around climate and sustainability and the policies that are coming in. And one of the arguments that is very prominent is that look, we are not going to stop our growth because suddenly you find that climate is important, which was important for us from the very beginning. So I guess this is what a general view is. There's a lot of conflict. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have a follow-up question to that, but I'll like wait for other panelists to first answer the question.
Yeah, I can add to that. I think sometimes there's this frustration, right? Like Pushpendra just highlighted, that it seems that in the global north, sustainability has really become something to rally around, has become an industry, has become something that's maybe at times corporatized, and something that's maybe wielded through policy or through activism or through charity work as something that needs to be sort of introduced in a very paternalistic way to the global south or souths more generally. So I kind of grew up with both these perspectives, both visiting family in Ghana, but also growing up in a lower income Ghanaian household, that these sort of practices of sustainability are not sort of interests or aren't kind of niches to work within, but actually just the necessity of life. And I think that's something that needs to be honored and respected, but also something that creates tension, because no one wants to stay in a low income situation, and people have the right to self-fulfillment and to personal growth. And so often there's the tension of, yes, our lives are already sustainable because of our class or financial position, but that's not where we want to stay. And so how does that happen in a way that is still sustainable? And how do we reach that without paternalistic sort of wagging fingers from the global north who have already contributed so much to the problem. So I think these are just some tensions that come up when talking about sustainability.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Laura?
and to that, um, so if we go also not only to the, let's say, every household, but actually the economy of the countries, there is a lot of also that creates tension, let's call it, when it comes to, for example, interaction with the global north, etc. An example with Costa Rica and mainly the background that I have is that the country is well known for tourism, and we're trying to make it into the part of sustainable tourism and everything that comes along with it, like in a holistic manner, not only preserve the green, but the holistic economy, culture, social, whatever you want to call it. And then you have this, let's say, extra influences that indeed try to permute into the country a little bit, that makes it a little bit more tension arising. But it doesn't matter that we cannot collaborate and work like in with the same goal in mind. Like afterwards, I mean, if the green is gone, the business is gone. So it really doesn't matter at the end if the goal of both parties goes in the same direction. It's just a matter of sitting in the same table, trying to discuss, okay, let's try to come up with ideas that benefit everyone and try to make it happen. And as an example, I always like to give the example that we have for the summer school that we did with the local chapter. And in this one, I have to recognize my co-organizer, Giovanni Rodriguez. She was one of the people that helped us quite a lot with that summer school. And it was a summer school dedicated towards sustainability in tourism using Kai. So why a summer school? It was mainly because we didn't want to start activities with the local chapter that wouldn't reach people at all. That makes no sense whatsoever. So the idea was, in the one hand, you want to, let's say, make this inception into the students to make it into the Kai community. But on the other hand, you also want to include people that actually benefit with technologies from Kai. So the whole idea for the summer school was, we're going to take the problems from local sustainable tourism, and those are the problems that the students are going to have to solve during the summer school, like in a hackathon kind of way. The solutions they came up with, they were amazing. And they were really going into what the people really needed here. So it's one of these things, is technology, it doesn't have to be in a bubble, just come and I'm going to fix a problem if the problem doesn't really benefit anyone. It's just a matter of sitting in a table, trying to really define what the problems are within the context in which we are in, not just trying to invent or innovate for the sake of it. That's basically the different perspective.
Thanks. Eunice?
I guess just trying to look at from the Indonesian perspective, right? So we are having such a big country, and our country is actually it's very climate risk uh, because of the situation of the geographical situation, and also we have, for example, we have a lot of rainforest. We also have a lot of flood in the country, and that's actually like has caused a lot of problem. But the thing is what discussed before, like the way people think, that people do not really aware, like for example, something happened, or people will think, okay, well, this is because we have done something wrong to the nature. And then, like it's more on a belief for the religious belief um, rather than academic, not academic, like a more scientific belief that this is something about sustainability that we have to think, how we can live, how we can survive. And having a sustainability is more into like the way thinking is like people with a lot of grassroots initiative that actually like started the global north, because I think they have a lot of higher awareness and prioritization from also from the government as well, and sustainability, because the basic need, like if we look at the Maslow hierarchical needs, has become how do I say, lifestyle instead of something that we have to really learn from the scratch. I think that's the situation with Indonesia at the moment.
Thanks. I have a follow-up question for also all panelists. What are the challenges for HCI researchers from the South to engage with and focus on sustainability in their work? And how can these challenges be addressed?
I guess I can go. So as someone who I was born in London, I was born in the UK, and I've grown up with a global north upbringing. I think maybe some challenges that arise, and maybe it's not specific to sustainability work, but just being someone either from the diaspora or from the South, but with certain privileges, is balancing what is known with the lived experience of the people that you're engaging with, and kind of dealing with both living within oppression or systems that are difficult, but also holding privilege and understanding how that shapes your perspective and coming into these issues, and kind of attending to preconceptions about what sustainability or what good outcomes look like in the communities that you're working with. So I think there's growing up in the UK, when we talk about conservation, there are popular beliefs that conservation work is purely good. It will always have positive outcomes, that conserving forests, say, like in my context, is something altruistic and sometimes something that should be conducted without the respect for local communities, or without the need for local knowledge with a science first perspective. And so I think challenging these beliefs and feeling proud and connected to communities that you come from, or that you're working with, is really important, and sort of putting to the back some of these global north centric views that we might be kind of pre-programmed with, or have not checked our assumptions about when thinking about sustainability and how this looks different for different contexts. So yeah, that would be one.
Maybe,
I actually, sorry,
oh,
love
sorry.
what, yeah, sorry, do you want to go, Ines?
No, you go
Okay,
ahead,
cool.
Laura.
I just have to say that I love what Jocelyn just said, because we have it here a lot, quite a lot actually. There is this, there was an incident, let's call it. We have still indigenous communities within the country. And there was a whole research program trying to tell them how they have to live. I mean, you first need to go and kind of know that they are the top of sustainability when it comes to community. And even so, they were coming like, no, you have to change it. You have to do it differently. Come on. It's just a matter of first understanding the context of the issue that you have, let's say it. I will add as well that for a challenge, especially for the South, it doesn't have to be only for sustainability, but overall, sadly, it has to be resources to do the research itself. Even in countries like mine, in which the whole politic of the country, the public institution, etc., They subscribe with the UN, the SDGs, the development goals, and everything that we do has to go with a check in that direction. Even in those cases, we have a lot of differences with the global north when it comes to getting research done because of mainly cost. And it's a matter of if it is not immediate, let's say, results that we're going to see, like, for example, a cool product or a cool app that we're going to have to be able to implement for X reason and whatever, you are not going to get funded, or it's going to be really hard to get funded. And even if you get funded, those funds are really reduced. Let's, for example, in academia, the number of PhDs are gonna be one, two, if any at all. Resource when it comes to materials is the same thing. So even those works that are really impactful when it comes to innovation, there tend to be high risk, high reward. So having it approved is a challenge in these parts of the world.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Eunice, you can go next.
Oh, I guess there's a lot of good ideas here shared by Laura and Jocelyn. Yeah, so what I want to share is actually um, relating to what I mentioned before. The concept of sustainability has not yet integrated into everyday life of the people here in this region. I'm not talking about people from Singapore or Japan or Taiwan, but I'm talking about people like, say, for example, just say people in Indonesia. So struggling with the basic concept, and also like we also still having difficulty of introducing the concept of HCI. There are a lot of young researchers doing research on HCI, and even like myself started the company in HCI in 2002. And I mean, like our situation is still like interesting. What is HCI? So when we combine HCI and sustainability, it's like a double convincing of people about two different things, which is very, very new. What is like the good thing from me in my line of work is actually when I work with a company and they have a requirement to fulfill certain, like a standard that they need to do for the to become ISO certified or something like that. They need to show the carbon report and then the ESG report or something like that. So they have to learn about that. And this is where I have the opportunity to introduce HEI within the concept of humanity-centered design, and how we can actually think, like how we can actually strategize our effort in delivering our services, developing, designing our products with HEI, and then like how we can also think of the sustainability issue within that as well. And this is like somehow it's the quickest way and then the most effective at at this point of time. And we are very fortunate if we work with the government or people or organization that has a lot of power and influence, because it somehow can force people to integrate or internalize in their way of thinking and way of conducting their life. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I think the issues around sustainability and also HCI is something that has also come up with my like the previous conversations that I had with Pushpendra as well, where he told me like how doing HCI is not considered as a part of computer science because it's not considered technical enough. So Pushpendra, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I mean, that is one challenge and why HCI has not yet picked up in India, because primarily Indian engineering is still, I would say, very traditional. I mean, not much change has come. The mechanical, chemical, all these branches are still there. And the major department in engineering colleges are nowadays computer science, which attracts most students, most funding, everything. But origin of computer science in India typically has come from people coming from mathematics background. So there is a so Indian computer science department are very good in what you call algorithm and theory, and that's where they take most pride. So a side effect of it comes in that any research in India, which is especially in the computer science department, which doesn't have mathematics prominently in it, uh, sort of is considered not computer science. So, for example, even systems was considered more as engineering than research. So HCI obviously gets that heat very much that hey, how come it is computer science when there is sometimes I mean there is no math in HCI research. Now, so that is one challenge that you face. The another challenge coming to the sustainability question was even if you are doing HCI research, doing it sustainably requires far more resources. So, for example, if I say a very simple example, let's say I say I will not use plastic. Now, just this statement means that everything that I am going to do will now require more money to do than what I could have done by using plastic. So the all the other questions of how much funding you have, can you really afford to do sustainable research, is a major question, because applying sustainable product, using sustainable product itself right now is much more costlier than using cheap alternatives like plastic. Okay. So that's the another challenge that you face because the grants are already limited, money is already limited. Then if you add this additional dimension, then you have to find money for that.
Right, right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think one question that I have for the panelist is that what do you think that then we can do? Like there are all of these challenges around, HCI in the South, around like not considering it more technical enough to be part of computing, or there are challenges around like, sustainability with grants and with the scarcity and limitness of the resources. So what can we do, or what can you do if you have to take some actionable steps towards, doing more sustainable HCI work or just like doing HCI in general?
Can I start? Maybe from my side, we'll still do HCI with the sustainability because it is a pressing agenda, and I know this is not going to be easy. And so instead of like telling people to do something that is radical, for example, remove all the plastic because even like for us, it is impossible to do it, right? But at least like a reducing um, and then showing what we can do better and then like teaching them like maybe through education what we can do better and giving some examples, real examples, because I think there are so many resources that we can learn and then also show, for example, showing people if you don't do it, this is what is going to happen, right? And people will be scared because their life and everything like will be threatened. I'm not trying to be threaten people, but it's just like because the situation, and then like based on that, giving the fact, then the people hopefully will be encouraged, and we will see the results probably not in a very short period of time, but creating like a people who can become a champion in a different places, that would be something that I would, like I would continue to do it, like in terms of HCI and sustainability.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Laura, I saw that you also unmuted yourself before.
Yeah, it was a matter I didn't see anyone speaking, so I was going to, but okay. No, so normally when it comes to applying already the research that I do, or seeing other people applying the research that they are doing, I always try to inquire what they were the experience they lived getting that product, app, algorithm, survey, whatever you want to call it, into the actual population you're looking into. And my own experience and a lot of the responses that I have gathered is always that you have to have a link with that community in order for that technology to be accepted. So I will argue that actually one of the things in order to make it into, let's say, something feasible, not only to have this cool app or this cool invention that we're going to have, is trying to get these collaborations in order to have that link to that community in which the technology will ultimately be applied to. So for example, people might like the whole idea of sustainable tourism, for example, here in Costa Rica. But if you don't live in Costa Rica, if you are, I don't know, in the US or in Europe, it's not bad intent. It's just a matter of misinformation because you are basically in a north bubble. And that those small hints, the small nuisance of being here, you only get it if you get here. Like if you make it into applying something that can be actually used in tourism. You have no idea how many times I have seen tourists, for example, with the coolest app ever in the middle of national park, trying to get internet signal, like with a phone all over the place, because they have the cool app, but they don't have internet because you don't have internet in national parks over here. So it's just a matter of context of getting to finally understand it. And for that, collaborations, at least in my understanding, collaborations are key. And inter-multidisciplinary collaboration are always key. I'm an electronic engineer by that's my career. That's my career about. And I have been working with psychologists, people from the medical domain, people from this now part in tourism, like sustainable, like the whole management of it. And we're really pushing into working with others. That's key. And here I have to use a small parenthesis to just make the announcement part of it. We are bringing both ICMI and CSCW to Costa Rica at the end of the year. So everyone welcome to come to Costa Rica and actually get those collaborations with the LATAM part of the world.
Yeah, Joycelyn, Pushpendra, you can go next.
Yeah, just to build on what Lara was saying, and also what Pushpendra was saying earlier, kind of around this technical element, I think part of the challenge, but also the opportunity is sometimes putting the technology second and focusing on that relationship building, because I think sometimes we enter these spaces with the idea that we're going to make something novel, which already kind of falls into this kind of exoticization or novelty focus, which kind of distracts from maybe what the key priorities are in the communities that we're working with. It's not that we don't want to be technically creative or technically innovative, but it's just that maybe the way that we think about how research unfolds or how innovation unfolds should be more grounded within kind of collective exploration or emergence through relationship building, and through building agency for people who actually feel connected to the technology that's being built. I think in my own work that has been something that's been really important and something that's been really challenging because it does slow down the research cycle. But then what comes out is something that's a lot more engaged and a lot more directed by collective thought, and something that hopefully will have a lot more longevity within the spaces that we're working in, and avoid replicating kind of systems of oppression, or just redundancy within the technologies that we're designing and deploying in South contexts.
Yeah, thanks, Joycelyn. Pushpendra?
Yeah, no, so I think now it is becoming very important that technology that are being developed are suitable for the communities, and that, yeah, I mean, even slowly, but it is definitely bringing a change even in Indian technical institutes. So recently, Indian government, for the first time, they launched a call for proposal where the emphasis was on deploying solution. So this I have seen the first time. Otherwise, typically Indian call for proposals were for pure science, pure research. Now, when these types of calls will start coming in, then obviously the role of HCI will become very evident to everybody, and that will sort of connect the different elements, because the research was happening in a lab and deployment was somebody else was doing the deployments. But now these kind of things will bring everyone together, because they will have to see the society, they will have to learn, they will have to understand the people who are going to use it, they will have to make sure that the solution they are developing, can they be used for the longer term, so sustainability will automatically come into the practice. And so I think there is a change happening, and I hope that in near future, maybe next 10 to 20 years, we will see this uh, sort of sustainability becoming a very integral part of technology and research which are being developed in the research labs and in academic institutions.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So there are some questions that are coming online. So I'm gonna ask them. So, so the first question is, so considering that sustainability is a global issue, how can we nurture solidarities across the global north and south? Like, what are the issues that you think that as the HCI community, as the global HCI community, we currently face, and how can we nurture solidarities across the north and the south?
Since I don't see a microphone going up, I'm gonna start. So I loved the name that this panel had for last year. There is no plan B. Just this is it. This is it. So it doesn't matter if you're in the north or in the south. The matter of thinking sustainability is a matter that should affect everyone. It's going to be just a matter of maybe timelines are going to be different, resources that are going to be different, but we already live in the same planet. So starting to think about collaborations, but looking into that perspective, it's just not a matter I'm going to save my country, it's a matter of going to or save my region, it's a matter of going to save the planet, or at least trying to put a small grain of sand in order to do it. That's the mindset that at least I try to apply, especially when it comes to collaborations with people from abroad. It's again, it's everything a matter, or at least to me, the way that I see it is try to be as positive as possible and try to, everyone is sitting at the table, we want the same thing. It's just a matter of trying to communicate with each other and trying to find that common ground. And if for example, for someone in the north is going to sound harsh, but sometimes it's like this. I need, let's say, a checkbox in a proposal in order to have it approved. Okay, cool, but at least be open-minded to be able to interiorize what it's actually meant, the research that you will be doing in collaboration with other people. So far, so good. So fingers crossed.
Joycelyn, I think.
Yeah, I think a really big way to build solidarity is to think about positionality, think about privilege, and think about whose voices are being heard. So, kind of stepping outside of the North bubble and inviting in new perspectives and different perspectives is really important in building connections and coalitions. So, finding and identifying skills or knowledges that are supportive or that can be used in allyship, and also respecting other knowledges and seeing those as kind of valuable additions or sources of leadership within the challenges that we're facing, because there are so many contexts for which we might be the technical experts or the scientific experts, but not experts in specific cultural sciences, cultural traditions, lived experiences, or on the ground ecological or sustainability knowledge, which are also sciences within themselves. So I think identifying our skills and how we can be of service, and also seeing that in others as well.
Eunice, Pushpendra, do you have anything to add?
I will probably just share something that Jocelyn and I met last year. And I think that initiative done by Susan Ball, Nick, and Kaisa, and also Mark Hassensal, actually bring together people in one place. It was a really good initiative because first, like we can synchronize the way we think, our perspective about sustainability from global north and also global south. It was a really good conversation, and really like impacted a lot of HCI researchers, including myself. And I think something like that, and even like the event that you are putting together like this, it's critical, and it is maybe not as complicated like creating a policy or something like that. But this conversation, having a conversation, is important because then we can start something together depending on where it goes. For example, maybe we're creating a group of people regionally where then we invite people like Jocelyn or Laura. Now that I know Laura, Puspendra, Jocelyn, and they can give a different perspective on that. So sharing knowledge, and then slowly from that, maybe we can do something together. So for example, from the one that we did in Duckstool before, we collaboratively writing a paper together. It's not end on the event itself, but it's continue. And then like with, say for example, with some of the people, we did a tour, we did something together, like something fun, but then it changed the perspective and then influence a lot of people after that. So you never know, but start with something simple that actually can bring everybody together. I think that's what I want to say.
Yeah, thanks, Eunice. Pushpendra?
No, I think I will just only add that look, it's important because understanding comes only once you start working closely together, and for that understanding to come, I guess solidarity or collaboration are essential. And unless that understanding comes in, we cannot have products which are truly sustainable, because I don't think there's going to be anything now which is not globally applicable. I mean, even though the things which we say local will have a global footprint, and there's always, I mean, the world is so connected that it's very difficult. Yesterday we were listening to the keynote talk, and you know that how an Amazon Echo device gets built up. I mean, from mining in one continent to software developed in another continent to selling in third continent. I mean, and that's what's happening everywhere with every single thing that we are doing. So to have this better understanding, this solidarity or the collaboration network is extremely important. Yes.
Thank you, Pushpendra. The following question was curated from a survey we made to the LATAM HCI community. What strategies do you know of that can be of support to sustainability approaches when the political economy of many countries in the global south are established around a capitalistic model?
That's a big question
Yeah.
and a hard one. Yeah.
Maybe I will
Maybe,
start.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Pushpendra, you
No,
go
no,
ahead.
please go ahead. I was just asking the question one more time because I could not
Yes.
process that.
Yeah, I think maybe we can rephrase it. They are asking that, the currently most of the economic model that we follow at a global scale is very capitalistic in nature, which has always, propagated this idea of more, more. You have to grow, you have to continue growing, which consumes a lot of resources. So how can we talk about sustainability when we are following such capitalistic model of growth, which is, kind of like opposite to sustainability or the ideology of sustainability.
I guess in my perspective, when we talk about capitalism, like we're talking about like how we can make money as much as possible, right? And yeah, well, it's fortunately I'm in that direction in a way, like trying to, bridging the gap with the work that I'm doing. Actually, like one of the initiatives that we did um, after last year, like the things that we did in Daksul, actually, like we participated in the global challenge. This global challenge is actually bring together the people, company, startup, actually like coming together to think about usability. So they created a new product, and within the scope of circular economy, actually, like we created product that is sustainable and that follows all the requirement to become a sustainable product. But at the same time, it has to be profitable. And it was a really good challenge. It was a 6-month challenge. And it was really good that we were able to influence a lot of this company who actually like initially only think about technology. What will be the coolest app, the coolest system, and then using the sustainability as just as a label, like the surface. But then we slowly like coach this company. Okay, no, you can't do that. Like we need to change the way we think, and then it's really like a serving what it is usability. Think about the people, what journey you want to teach. So it is a lot of, and then we connect. We'll also like we try to see the stakeholders within this community, and then like invite them. Okay, well, this is how you look at it. Like you cannot just like give money to these people. You really need to know So there's a lot of education going on. And with a startup, it's usually like a so capitalist thing, right? But knowing this is something like we are very clear with the goal and then what we are doing, and then like they basically, yeah, it's a different approach. It's not perfect, but at least we start something.
Yeah, and that really speaks to like some of the strategies, right? It's like, what are these strategies that we know of, or like that we apply in our work that still can fit within the capitalistic model that we live in, but that can really support like sustainability approaches. Um, any other panelists who would like to add?
Well, there is some cases in which you can use capitalism against capitalism. Let me explain. So here, Costa Rica, you hear Costa Rica, tourism, green, biodiversity, etc. And within the capitalistic model, that is a huge source of income for us, like for the capitalism setup. The thing is that if the green is gone, you're killing the goose of the golden eggs. So no more capitalism income. So a lot of, and I know it's like a weird way of seeing it, but in a lot of discussion panels, this is a way to try to actually make it into a sustainable environment. Just make it clear that in some cases, like for example, tourism, if you don't go in the road of sustainability, you might lose the source of your capitalism income. So in some cases, there is not, obviously is not generalizable, but there is some specific cases in which capitalism can be used to actually fight capitalism.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would actually agree to it. And capitalism has a lot of power and many good things as well. I mean, it didn't succeed for nothing. So one of the reasons capitalism succeeded, but somewhere it appealed to the individual that it can generate wealth for them, and that's why it sort of became the dominant model of governance in the countries, even the countries which started as communist or socialist. So, like India was socialist country till 1990s almost, and I have seen about 10 to 15 years of that socialism versus when the, you can say, India opened up economy or the capitalism came, and the change has been tremendous. And I think nobody in India would like to go back to 1980s or before that. And the reason is that capitalism brought wealth and better life for many people. So I guess if if the sustainability can be made profitable, then only it will get adopted by people. And that's a reality. I mean, we can talk about many other things, but sustainable products will have to also become profitable on their own. Because then people adopt it. And I guess that, I totally agree with it that if you can somehow change the equation to say that, look, sustainability needs to be maintained for everything else to running, then the switch will come. Currently the equation is the other way around, that you can get it cheap, you can get it in large numbers. The moment you switch it and say that no, you have to get a sustainable product, and then only you can maintain every other thing, otherwise that you will also lose, then I guess it will take up. And it will take up by at the individual level, because otherwise today you can force people to adopt a lifestyle, but that itself is not sustainable.
Right.
Because then people will look for shortcuts, they will look for other things. But if somehow you can communicate that sustainability is the way to go to improve their life, to maintain their current life, then I think the adoption will be more natural and would be more sustainable in itself.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I know we have like 10 minutes left. So before we move on to the closing part, Jocelyn, I know that you have Climate in Color, a platform online. So do you want to talk about that? Do you want to share like how that project started and what was the idea behind that?
Yeah, Flaming Colours are online education platform with offshoots of in-person events, but it's mainly a platform to provide resources on the intersection of climate science and climate justice, and has brought together a global community of people from lots of different backgrounds and lots of different ages who are motivated to understand better the intersections of colonialism and injustice and how it pertains to building a more sustainable world and the impacts of the climate crisis. And so, yeah, using it as a way to translate research for a more general public and to mobilize people around issues of climate action and climate justice, and build more capacity in the general public, again, across North and South. So yeah, it's sort of an creative and research communication project I have outside of my PhD.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So, before we close, are there any other ideas or comments that other panelists have that they would like to share? Okay, great. So yeah, I think this concludes our panel discussion on sustainability from the perspectives of the Global South. We hope it was interesting for the participants who have joined us online or in person today, and it also sparked some deeper understanding of the multifaceted nature of this crucial challenge around sustainability. We also want to thank all the panelists for sharing their valuable insights, experiences with us. We know that the fight to sustainability or to a sustainable future requires a global effort. And by fostering a more inclusive and pluriversal approach within HCI, we can collectively move towards solutions that truly address the needs of all communities across the globe. We would also want to invite everybody to continue having these conversations beyond this panel. If you can reach out to the panelists, you can reach out to us, Sikkai Sustainability Committee, if you are interested in having or organizing these conversations. Together as a collective, we can support each other in in challenging unjust and unsustainable practices within HCI and even beyond. We can also aim for a better HCI that centers and promotes sustainability and justice.
We are grateful to the vibrant cultures of the Global South and the wisdom of diverse traditional community who have nurtured the art of living sustainably in and in harmony with nature for generations. Their commitment to protecting our planet serves as a never-ending source of inspiration and guidance for our future sustainable endeavors. We thank the SIGCAI Sustainability Chair, Nick Bidwell, for her continued support and invaluable feedback. We are grateful to Christiana Titilop Oyewala and the rest of the SIGCAI Sustainability Committee for helping us organize this panel. We also extend our gratitude to all of you, the audience, online, and a few people here in person for our active participation and thoughtful questions.
Yeah, and with that, thank you once again to all the panelists, all the people, participants joining online, and even student volunteers for helping us organize this panel. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the conference. And
Thanks.
thank you to you, Michelle and Ulpi, for
Thank
the
you.
organization.
Yeah.
Can we close it now?